Hello guys, welcome to another session. In this session, we are going to look into HTML5 semantic tags. So let's look into the topics. What are the topics we are going to cover in this session? Headings and types of headings in HTML5. Then we will also look into group headers. Once we understand the headers element, then we will proceed further and we will look into navigational element in HTML5. HTML5 also offers article elements that will be also used to decorate your text and images of the web pages. Once we are comfortable with the article element, then we will look into the sidebar, that is a side element, how we can easily create the sidebars using a side element of HTML5. And at last we will look into the content position, how we can achieve the content position with the help of main tag. The same way we are getting the header and footer element like HTML header element used to group together related items at the top of the page, and the footer element used to group together related items at the bottom of the page. The same way HTML5 provides a main element to group together related items that form the body content of the page. So we will look into that, the main element in content position topic. So now let's jump into the Visual Studio Code and we will see all this thing in action. So we are into Visual Studio Code and here we will create a file called heading types demo, we can say, and here we will generate the HTML code with the help of HTML snippet, which I already mentioned. I'm going to use the HTML5. So here you will select the HTML5, enter, so it will generate the HTML code. So now remove this meta information, so you can delete it, it is not required now. And here we will tell that heading type, and after that what we will do, we will save it. And here now I will generate some of the HTML code and then I will explain you. So let me write it. You can also use the same resource from the resource section of this course. You can take the file and copy paste in your Visual Studio Code, or if you want to write the code, you can pause the video and write it. So here I have written the example. So now you can see that we are having h1 tag, which is basically representing the document heading. We can use h2 tag for the section heading, and we can use h3 tag for article heading, and then we can use the paragraph for article content. So these are the majorly usage of the headings from h1 to h3, but it is not limited to h1 to h3. HTML5 has total number of h1 to h6 headings, so you can use h4, h5 and h6 as per your need. But generally what is happening in the web page design process, h1 tag is mainly used to represent the heading of the document, and h2 tag is used for section heading, and h3 tag is being used for article heading. So let's look into the output. But prior to running this web page on a browser, I want you have to install an extension in Visual Studio Code to see the live output. So to install the extension, what you have to do, you should come here and click on this icon, and here once you click it, then it will give us so many extensions. What you need to do, you need to type http simple server. Once you type it, then you will get http server HTML previewer, a simple http server. So this extension you have to select. I have already installed, that's the reason it is not showing here the install option. You might be getting a install option. You need to click on it, then it will install it. It will take 1 or 2 minutes of time to install. Once it is being done, then we will run the page. So how we will run the page? So see here, so we will go to the file, and here this file we have designed, and now we will need to click on F1. The moment you will click on F1, you need to type this one. You can also get this option from the instruction. You need to copy paste it, and here it also given you how you should run your web page with the help of this extension. So you need to copy this one, this string, and you should come here, click on F1, go to the file and click F1 and paste it. The moment you will paste it and enter, it will ask you two options. One is open in browser or open in Visual Studio. So once you click on open in Visual Studio, I will choose over here. Then you will get another window open, and which will contains the output, and it is a hot reloading. Hot reloading means the moment you will change something, for example I am changing here article heading to article head and saving it, then you will get the output. See here, I get the output instantly. So this is one of the way by which you can see the output instantly So I will recommend that you can use this one instead of copying paste and the path which we were doing earlier. So it is the better way, so you can use it. So now proceeding further, so here we have seen the output, how the output is coming. The document heading, we get this output with the help of h1 tag. Section heading we are getting from h2 tag, same with the h3 which is used for article heading, and there is other tag that is called h4, h5, h6. So let's look into that. So for example purpose I am using over here, so provide the h4, same is the case with h5. So you will see that the format of these h4, h5 and h6 is different. So here you can change it to h5, and here also here for h6. So till h6 you can use it. Now you will save it, then you will find the output like this. So here the formatting of h4 tag is different. It is smaller than h3 tag. Same is the case with h5, which is smaller than h4, and same is the case with h6, which is smaller than h5. Now let's proceed further and look into other topic. So the next topic which we are going to discuss is about grouping headers. So grouping header basically used to maintain a correctly sequenced outline. So that means you can easily maintain a document head with taglines. So to better understand it, let's jump into the Visual Studio Code and we will use the header group to interact our document heading with a tagline. So let's create an HTML file and give it a name 02 head group header example demo.html, and now we can use HTML snippet. So we have generated it. For a time being we can close this one so that we can see it properly, and here we need to specify the title. We can specify the title group header example or say demo, and delete this one as it is not required over here. And now I will write the HTML and then we will discuss. But prior to writing the example, we want a proper folder structure for handling the image, for keeping the image in a proper location, and the resource.css file. So we need a folder structure and we will call it as images, where we can keep our images, because we are going to design the banner which will contain the HTML document heading with the tagline. So we will create an image folder and then we will also click on folder icon, keep the CSS that we will use for a time being. So it is wrong, so delete this one. So you should select the semantic demo, and here you need to click on folder and we can call it as CSS. So our image will go over here and CSS will go over here. You can grab the images from the resource section. Whatever the images which we are going to use over here, you can grab it from the resource section and you can use it as well if you are writing code along with me. Now here I am going to use two images, one for banner, another for logo. So these are the images we are going to use. This is one and another one is the logo. This we will use for logo. Now let me write the content for the HTML and then we will discuss. So here I have written the HTML content. You will find that we are using two groups for header. One group which contains the images, and we have also used header 1 and header 2, and the same way we are having other group of headers that also contains a header 1 and the header 2. So now what we will do, we will run this with the help of simple HTML server. So to run it, click on F1 and here you need to write, or you will get an option like this. Select it. It will ask you to open in browser or open in Visual Studio. I am going to open it in Visual Studio. Once you run it, then you will find that the output of the code. Now let's proceed further and look into other topics. So now we will look into the navigational element that basically used to create the menu. So let's create a menu with the help of navigational element. So we are into Visual Studio Code and we will write the navigational element over here. So let me write it, then I will explain. So now I have written the navigational element over here. It contains 3 links. So we will look into the output now, how the output will come. So click on F1 and select this one. It will open in the Visual Studio, and here you will find that we have 3 navigational item over here. You can provide any link that will open when we will design a full-fledged project in the upcoming series. Then we will use this navigational item. So for a time being, just understand that this element is basically used to design your navigational component across the page, or say across the website. Now let's proceed further. Now let's look into the article semantic tag that is basically used to write the general content within the HTML document. So let's use it in Visual Studio Code. So we are into Visual Studio Code. Let's close this one. We are going to use the same example, and here we will use the article tag. So here we will come to the body part and here prior to closing of the body we will use it. So let me write it. So I have designed over here. You can find that I have used two article section over here. Now if you will run it, then you will find that it has properly placed the content within the HTML document. So let's run it. Click on F1, select this one, open in Visual Studio, and then you will find that the article content like this. Article 1, you should write the content, whatever the content which you want to print over here, you can use it. So it will be properly segregated and grouped. This is basically used when you want to apply a different style in one of the article, then you can use it. So you must be wondering that why I have kept two article element over here, why can't we put all the thing within the single article? Then I would tell that it would be really easy to manage and format the content of web page. So to understand it better, I will write some example over here. So here I am going to use some portion of CSS which you will see in the upcoming course, but for a time being you can just understand that CSS is used to format the web page, and to apply the CSS into the HTML document we need to associate the CSS file with the HTML document. So in our scenario, I want to apply some formatting on this article. This I can give it an ID like this. We will give it a name called A1, and here I can give it a name called ID equal to A2. Now we have two articles. Now I want to apply that this article border is being solid and this article border is become dashed. So how we can do that? We can create a CSS file, give it a name style.css, enter, and here we will specify that article, the ID which we have used. You can specify over here hash for ID and give it a name. We have used A1, and we are going to tell that the border, if you are not understanding, that is fine. Just remember that we are going to cover this CSS part in our upcoming course. So border hyphen style, and we will tell that we want solid, and the color, whatever the color you want, you can specify that border color equal to black. Black would be fine. And the same for, I want some different formatting for A2 article, and this time I want dashed, and this time I want blue. So that is perfectly fine. Now we will go to the HTML page. You will not find that it is not coming over here because we need to associate the CSS file. So how we can do that? We need to come to the header section, and here we will use link element, and we need to specify the location of that particular CSS which is going to be associate with this HTML page. So I am keeping my CSS into the CSS folder of this location, and here we have a style.css. Now save it, and the moment you will save it, you will find that the CSS is being applied to this article. So now you understand that why we use article element into the web page. So it helps us in grouping the content in a more structured manner. Now let's proceed further. Now we have understand articles. Now we will look into the sidebars, how we can create sidebar with the help of a side element. So let's look into the Visual Studio Code. So we are into Visual Studio Code. To understand it, we will create a new file, that is 03 side demo.html, and here we will generate the HTML code. Click here. Now change the document title over here. So we will change the document title. We will call it as demo, aside demo. Now let me write the HTML code and then we will discuss. So here I have designed the web page and I have written the HTML content. So first we will look into the output, then we will understand that what actually we have written to generate the output. So let's run it, and here we will select this one, and this time we will open in browser. So here in the output you are seeing that we have generated a side menu with the help of a side tag. So let's look into the code how we have designed this page. Then if you will find over here that we have used the aside tag, and within that we have used navigational element, and where we have specified that href, and there were certain, and below that we have used the paragraph. So you can see here these are the paragraphs. So this menu is being generated and which is being aside, that means it is coming aside with the help of this aside menu. And we have also done formatting with the help of CSS, which we have attached over here with the help of link element, and you can see that we have aside.css, and where we have provided some CSS formatting like font size, color, float, width, such decoration we have done. So if you are not understanding any of this, we will do this in our next course, that is CSS3 from scratch. So for a time being, just understand that whatever the formatting which we are doing over here, that is being attached to a site-demo.html with the help of this link element, and because of that this formatting is happening. For example, I will demonstrate one of the example. Currently we are getting the menu at the left side. Now suppose I want to place this menu at the right side, so what we have to do? So let's jump into the CSS file, and here in the CSS file we have a specified left. Instead of left we will specify right. Now see the effect what will happen. Now you will find that your menu is at the right side of the web page. So you see here, with the help of a side element we can easily manipulate or design sidebar navigation in our web. When we do the full-blown project after completing the course HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, then we will design the full-blown project where we will use all this element and understand the purpose of each element. That is basic building block of web programming. So let's proceed further. So now we have seen the sidebar, how we can create the sidebar with the help of a side element. Now we will look into the footer tag, which will help us to design the footer of the web page. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code. So now we will create an example to showcase the footer element. So to do that, 04 footer demo.html, and here we use snippet, and you will change it over here. Provide the name footer demo. So let me write the HTML and then I will explain. You can use the same HTML from the resource section if you want to follow along. So I have designed the page. Let's look into the output, then we will discuss about it. So let's click on F1 and select this one. We will open in browser. So see here we are getting this output, and here you will find that these are the footer elements. So that means this is being generated with the help of footer tag. So let's discuss about this. So here we are having the copyright, then we have a Terry example, and then we have some link over here. It is not properly being formatted, but the intent over here is that I wanted to showcase that with the help of footer element you can easily group the other element which you want to put it into footer of the web page so easily. So let's look into the code so that you can now relate this output with HTML code. So see here you are getting this output with the help of this footer tag, and that tag is having a navigational element which we are seeing there. If you will look in this navigational element which you are getting, because we have used the nav element there. Now we have used a small tag which is representing the text in a smaller format, and then we have used the copyright symbol over there. So this is the way you can design your footer of the web page. You can also design the footer for the article page, which we have used over here. If you will see there, the same footer tag we have used with the article. So that means it is also representing the footer of the particular article tag, or say footer of the article block. So let's again see the output, then you can relate it. So see here we have two blocks of article where Sally's article, and here it content will come, and this is the footer which you are achieving through the footer tag. Same with the case of Terry's article, where you are printing the header, then article you are printing, and then here you are using the footer element. Now you can look into the code again. So see here we have two blocks of article where we have used footer element, and then we have also other article tag where we have used footer element, and at last we have used at the page level of footer. We have designed the footer for the page level, but here we have also used footer.css, which is also providing some of the functionality, or say some of the formatting to the page footer. So let's look into that. Then you will find over here that it has a footer, and this is the ID of that particular footer which is being applied at the page level. So let's look into that once again. So here you will find that we have provided an ID to this footer, that is called page, and here we are applying the margin top value should be 20 pixels. So this is the CSS for footer. So now let's proceed further. So now we will look into the content position. That means we will learn about main tag. As I already told you in the introduction of the session, where we have discussed about header part, footer part. Now let's discuss about the main section. So in this example we are going to look into the main element which we generally use to group the element of the HTML document. So let's go to the Visual Studio Code and design the demo. So we are into the Visual Studio Code. Again, we will create a file over here. So let's create it, and here we will select this icon and we will write that 05 content positioning demo.html, and then we will use the HTML snippet. Remove this one, content placing demo. Now let me write the code and then we will discuss. So here I have written the code. Now let's look into the output and then we will discuss about each of the section. But prior to showing the output, I will tell you that we have a CSS file also which is being associated with this HTML. This CSS file is helping us to design the border and other formatting to the HTML. You can also run it. You take the resource from the resource section of this course and run along with me so that you can easily understand what is going over here. So let's run it, F1, and here select this one, open in browser. So this is the output you will get, and here you will easily recognize that we have a header section and we have a navigation area. This is the main area. Main area contains the section heading. Section heading contain the article heading. So all this is the proper structure of a web page. So whenever you are outlining any of the web page, so you should follow this structure where header element will go into the header area, then main area contain the sections. So each portion is properly being laid out. So see here we have the footer area as well. So such kind of layout we actually use for content positioning into the web page. Now let's look into the HTML code so that you can understand that how it is being generated. So if you will look into this page, then you will find that in the body section we have a header area which is printing the header area. Then we have a main section. So this is the main container for all the elements which is going into the page. It is coming within this main area which contains another element that is called section, and then within section we have an article which will be used to place the content of the web page, where we have used the header 3 h3 article heading and then the paragraph element, and at last you will see there we have used the footer element and then we have closed the main element. So this way we are generating the out like this. So we have header area, main area which contains the sections, sections contains the articles, articles contains the paragraph, and at last we have the footer area. So this way you can lay out your web page. If you look into this, then you will find that we have different types of border, and this border effect is coming from position.css file. So here you will find that we have a footer, we have also done the formatting for paragraph, section, header and main area. So this way we can format our web page as well. So let's wrap the session now. So this session is little long, and here we have understand about types of headings. We have looked into header group, then we have understand about navigation, then we have also looked into articles. After that we have understand that how to create the side menu with the help of a side element. Then we have understand about the footer, and at last we have seen the content positioning, that is laying out our HTML page in a proper manner. So on this note, I am stopping over here. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.